Analytical expositions of Lenchonghoi and Kalvom Tepu folklore. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful young girl whose charm was unmatched. The beautiful young lady has 7 younger brothers who are all very protective of their lone sister. The brothers, who were manful and dauntless, protect their sole sister in a house built of 10 iron doors. Lenchonghoi can be a metaphoric term for the congregation Knesset of Israel. The beauty of the congregation of Israel is often compared to sunlight, which will be discussed later. The story shows that she was guarded by her 7 brothers, so too the Knesset of Israel have 7 guardians, namely Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aharon, Yosef, and David. In Song of Solomon chapter 8 verses 8, the nation of Israel are compared to little sister. We have a little sister, and she hath no breasts. What shall we do for our sister on the day when she shall be spoken for? A commentary on the book of Song of Songs named Shir Hashirim Rabbah states that our little sister refers to the nation of Israel. Rabbi Azariah said in the name of Rabbi Yehuda bar Rabbi Shimon that in the future the nations of the world will say to God, Master of the universe, Israel too would worship idols. If so, how would Israel be safe from purgatory? God will answer them, Shir Hashirim Rabbah, chapter 8, verse 8. Say that Israel is like a little sister, and since one did not punish a little child's misdeeds, so too Israel's misbehaviors should be annulled and void. In the story Lenchonghoi, she was the most beautiful maiden in the world. So too, the beauty of the nation of Israel is mentioned in Shir Hashirim chapter 1 verse 8, stated that as, if thou know not, O thou fairest among women. Here Israel is compared to the fairest maiden among the nations. Lenchonghoi have 7 guardian brothers. In similar fashion, Israel too have 7 guardians. Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aharon, Yosef, and David. These guardians are also known as shepherds, as stated in Shir Hashirim 1:8. Go your way in the footsteps of the flock and feed your kids beside the shepherds' dwellings. Rashi explains the allegorical meaning as, O fairest of women among the nations, how will you be saved from the hands of those who oppress you? The Jewish nation, who is the apple of God's eye, whenever they went wandering or are in troubles, should contemplate the ways of their ancestors who received the Torah and its commandments. Rashi stated in Shir Hashirim 1:8, and by following the ways of their forefathers they will be delivered. Rashi Shir Hashirim 1:8, in exiles, if Israel does not know where to lean on, God told Israel to walk in the ways of their forefathers and be safe. Lenchonghoi was locked and guarded with 10 iron doors. There are no nations in history of the world that have a tale of 10 iron doors. This may refer to the 10 commandments, as the commandments are a series of moral imperatives that are recognized as a moral foundation of human society and religions. And it may also be a figurative meaning conveying the modesty of Israel, as seen in Song of Songs chapter 4 verse 2. A garden locked up is my sister, my bride, a spring locked up, a sealed fountain. The verse locked up garden is my sister, my bride is interpreted by Rashi as referring to the modesty of the daughter of Israel who are not unethical in conduct, as a modest person who is locked out from outside influences. And the following verse, a spring locked up, a sealed fountain, is explained by Rashi as a term referring to a god, which in an Aramaic expression means locked up from all extraneous immoral behaviors. In the Talmud tractate Berachot 28 Teruko Galei, which means lock the gates. Rabbi Shlomo ben Yitzchak Shir Hashirim 4 verse 12 share the same connotation as locked up spring. Lenchonghoi brothers went to fetch sunlight in order to compare with her beauty. So too, the prophet Isaiah 19 verse 6 stated, he saith, It is too light a thing that thou should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Yaakov and to restore the offspring of Israel. I will also make you a light of the nations. In the same manner, in Song of Songs 6 verse 10, the beauty of Israel is compared to a clear sun. Who is that she looketh forth as the morning, fair as the moon, clear as the sun? Kalvom Tepu came, a metaphoric term for rulers of nations who took Israel into exiles. The old widow, a figurative term for evil inclinations, which try to subdue the beauty and vigor of the Jewish people. The old widow commanded Kalvom Tepu to take Lenchonghoi as his bride, which inferred the evil inclination stirring up the nations to subdue the nation of Israel. Kalvom Tepu went to Lenchonghoi and requested her to open the 10 doors by imitating the voice of her brothers. But she realized from the harsh voice of Kalvom Tepu that he was not her brother, since the voices of Lenchonghoi brothers were pleasant and soft. Khalvom Tepu was further instructed that in order to make the voice soften, he must go and lick the urine of Lenchonghoi. Inevitably, Khalvom Tepu went and licked the urine of Lenchonghoi, and thus he got a soft and tender voice. This means the evil inclination has no power over Israel unless they sin, because only through the sins of Israel the evil inclination gains its strength over the nation. Thus, the excrement or urine of Lenchonghoi is a metaphor figurative of immorality and sins. Indeed, at the end, Khalvom Tepu was successful and carried away Lenchonghoi. The Jewish people too were taken into exile by the kings of the nations. If that is the case, how do the kings of the foreign nations succeed in taking them, Israel, into exiles? The rabbis of blessed memory explained in the Talmud that if Sennacherib had told them to take them far away from the land of Israel, they would have rebelled. 2 Kings 18 verse 32 and Talmud Sanhedrin 94a. So he told them that he will take them to a land which is like their own land. Rabbi Shlomo son of Yitzchak explains that Sennacherib could have said, to a land better than yours in order to entice them, but since the Jews know that there is no better land than theirs, he used reasonably soft words in order to entice them, Israel. The Jewish people who were accustomed to hearing soft and gentle words mean the words of the Torah in which there is justice and peace. The nations using harsh words mean authoritarian rules in which rough and aggressive principles are the norms. So if Sennacherib had not used soft words, he wouldn't be able to entice them. Likewise, Khalvom Tepu licked the excrement of Lenchonghoi in order to get a soft voice, which means he was able to entice them because of their sins, which is compared to excrement. He indeed succeeded and took her away. When the brothers returned home, they found their sister missing as she did not open the doors. They began to stomp the iron doors to break in. First, the oldest among them pounded the first door and died after breaking in. The second brother broke the second door and died. Thus, in this way, all the brothers died in the process of opening one door each, except the youngest brother, who survived the fate by opening the last remaining door, and thereafter he was transformed into a dove and went searching for his sister. The 7 Ushpizin, a reference to the 7 supernal guests, the 7 holy spiritual leaders of Israel, who are considered the founding fathers of the Jewish people. They are Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aharon, and David. Derek Hashem 3 verses 2 to 5 stated, each of the 7 Ushpizin corresponds to a fundamental spiritual pathway through which the world is physically nourished and perfected. The 7 Ushpizin representing the 7 fundamental spiritual pathways are: Abraham represents love and kindness. Yitzhak represents restraint and personal strength. Yaakov epitomizes beauty and truth. Moshe epitomizes eternality and dominance through Torah. Aharon embodies empathy and receptivity to divine splendor. Yosef symbolizes holiness and spiritual foundation. And David represents the establishment of the kingdom of heaven and earth. That is sovereignty and leadership of King Mashech, a scion of the house of David. Thus, the final destination is the establishment of the kingdom of David. With it, the world will come into perfection. And one of the specific responsibility of Mashiach will be to bring back all the nation of Israel from exiles, rebuilds the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, re-establish Sanhedrin Jewish Supreme Court consisting of 71 rabbis, and restoration of Yovel, the Jubilee year, etc. Thus David, the 7th among the holy spiritual leaders, will end the bitter exiles of the nation of Israel. Likewise, we understand from the story of Lenchonghoi that the youngest among the brothers was Lenchonghoi, and her brother were able to escape from Khalvom Tepu. But Khalvom Tepu pursued them, and ultimately they met, in which a battle ensued between Khalvom Tepu and Lenchonghoi brother. None of them has won the duel, but both were tired and exhausted. The gods decided to help Lenchonghoi brother named Manmasi, and he won the battle. The depiction of the final battle is found in the book of Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39. In the final battle known as the War of Gog and Magog, the enemy will take half of Jerusalem, the eyes of the universe, and then in order to save the nation of Israel, God will intervene on behalf of his people, just as he did in the days of our forefathers. And after the war, the nations of the world will finally recognize and accept the one true God, and along with that, Jewish sufferings and exiles will come to a complete end. And after the war, the nations of the world will finally recognize and accept the one true God. And along with that, Jewish sufferings and exiles will come to a complete end. In general, the Rambam Mishneh Torah, Laws of King 12, verse 2, stated that there is an inherent unclarity regarding the particulars of the war of Gog and Magog and the related events described by the prophets. All these and similar matters cannot be definitely known by man until they occur. On their way home, Lenchonghoi and her brother brought a leaves of life and a water of life. With that, they revived their brothers and everyone who were dead, and they lived happily ever after. The end of the story hints about the resurrections of the dead by means of the leaves from the tree of life and water of life. This parallel narrative can be perceived in the book of prophet Ezekiel. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these are the bones of the house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones have become dried up, our hope is lost, and we are clean cut off. Therefore Ezekiel 37 verse 11 and 12, prophesy and say to them, so says the Lord God, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, my people, and bring you home to the land of Israel. Rashi expounded the meaning of the prophecy of Ezekiel 37 verse 11 and 12. They are an intimation of the redemption and an example of the return of the entire house of Israel from their exiles, for they say, our bones have become dried up from the troubles, our hope is lost, and what further hope can we have for salvation? The Proverbs 3 verse 18 stated, it is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that holdeth her fast. Prophet Isaiah 55 verse 1, those that are thirsty go to water, and whoever has no money go buy and eat. Without money and without a price. Rashi interprets go to water as referring to the Torah. Thus the leaves from the tree of life and water of life, which are mentioned in the folklore of Lenchonghoi, is a metaphor. It indicates the words of God that are the Torah. Thus it is written in Prophet Habakkuk 2 verse 14, the whole world will be full of the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. Isaiah 26 verse 16, your dead shall live, their bodies shall rise. You who dwell in the dust, awake and sing for joy. For your dew are a dew of light, and the earth will give birth to the dead. And I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and you will be clean from all your impurities, and from all your abominations will I cleanse you. Clean water. I will grant you atonement and remove your uncleanliness by sprinkling purification water, which removes even the highest degree of defilement, the defilement caused by a corpse. Rashi say, and I will give you a new heart, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the heart of stone out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. A new heart, an inclination that has been renewed for the better. And I will put my spirit within you and bring it about that you will walk in my statutes, and you will keep my ordinances and do them. Ezekiel 36 verses 25 to 28. Then will you dwell in the land that I gave your fathers, and you will be a people to me, and I will be to you as a God. The Rambam writes in 13 Principles of Faith, I believe with perfect faith that there will be Tekiyat Hametim, resurrection of the dead. This is one of the basic principles of the faith of every Jew, and whoever does not believe in the resurrection of the dead will not have a share in resurrection of the dead.